Yo, I can't believe it's July 5th already. Is somebody going to wake Pat Riley up? Oh, it is. It is a Tuesday episode on a Tuesday that feels like a Monday of Donno Daily here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. I hope everyone had an awesome weekend, an awesome 4th of July. I'm a Miami Hurricanes fan, so my 4th of July was extra spicy with 5-star offensive tackle, top offensive tackle in the country, Francis Mauigoa, committing to the U. If you're not a Miami fan, I'm so sorry. If you're a Florida fan or a Florida State fan, I know it's been a tough summer for you already. I'm hoping it's not going to be a tough summer for the Miami Heat. If you're wondering why I am in an undisclosed location broadcasting today, I was all set, had the home studio ready, and then I notice everything in my house just turns off. Power is out, right? Beautiful sunny day today. Why is the power out? I go outside and there's FPL trucks all over the place. They're doing work in my neighborhood. They cut my power. And I asked the very nice FPL man, a little suspicious, but very nice FPL man, bro, when's it coming back, man? Donno Daly's coming up at 2:30. I was scheduled for 2:35. We went on a little early, and he tells me I can't make any guarantees before 11 p.m. that the power's coming back. So I will not be stopped. I will not be deterred. Get in my car, go to my parents' house. I'm not going to let anyone know where that is because the globalists are already after me, clearly. And guys, unless you were born yesterday, it wasn't FPL who cut my power. Folks, let me explain what happened, folks. It's the globalists. You have to understand there's a war being fought right now behind the scenes in the United States of America. We're at war with George Soros. We're at war with Putin. Or actually, they want you to think we're at war with Putin, but we're not really at war with Putin, but he thinks he's at war with us. There's a lot of stuff going on, folks, behind the scenes. And we will not be stopped. We will not be silenced. We will not be deplatformed. They think they can just cut my power and keep me away from 5 Reasons Sports YouTube. Think again. Okay, so if you think that was FPL, not an inside job, I'm sorry for you. So yeah, we are here. I think my Wi-Fi in this particular corner of the house stinks. So if we have any like ins and outs and outages, you guys let me know. So where are we right now when it comes to the Miami Heat landing Wales? It's been very quiet. It's been very quiet the last few days. We've been able to enjoy our 4th of July or maybe like stress over our 4th of July. We had a report come out in the last couple of days, and this is always a chess match. It's always a tug of war when you talk about unhappy players wanting to get traded. But a lot of Heat fans are looking in the direction of Donovan Mitchell, right? How great of a fit he would be. He's been someone brought up in a lot of trade conversations with the Heat before. They already traded Rudy Gobert in just a blockbuster deal where they probably got way too much in return for him. Now, this came out on Sunday. According to Adrian Wojnarowski, the Utah Jazz have shut down any team who's called about trying to trade for Donovan Mitchell. The Jazz are committed to moving forward with him as their cornerstone player. So that can mean one of two things. It means they're absolutely sincere and they don't want to trade Donovan Mitchell, or it could also mean we're playing hardball, folks. NBA front offices, we're trying to get bigger and better offers. Now, we do have a spy working in the Utah Jazz organization. He owns a piece of the team. Our guy, Dwayne Wade, is doing what he can. But the problem is they got Danny Ainge over there. Danny Ainge would rather do business with the devil himself than do business with Pat Riley. The two of those guys despise each other. Riley literally told him to shut the fuck up a few years ago. So there is no love lost between Pat Riley and Danny Ainge. Okay, so it's an uphill battle. You're salmon swimming upstream if you want to get anything done between the Miami Heat and the Utah Jazz to bring a guy like Donovan Mitchell to South Florida. It's not impossible because at the end of the day, you need to do business to strike the best possible deal. Sometimes you have to put rivalries aside if that's your only option. But no, I don't take it too seriously when Adrian Wojnarowski says that the Utah Jazz have shut down any team that's called about trading for Donovan Mitchell. That's just what you do. I mean, how long were the Houston Texans shutting down calls for Deshaun Watson? Different sports, but same concept, right? You shut down calls until you get the type of offer you want because you shut them down. You believe we don't want to trade this player. We have leverage. Then that's going to end up driving the price up in the long run. That's the way to go. Here's a report on the Brooklyn Nets with Kevin Durant. The Nets this is courtesy of realgm.com. The Nets are trying to create an outline for Kevin Durant trade as the market is still taking shape. This is according to Woj. Again, Woj has been very busy. No holiday weekends for Adrian Wojnarowski. He says, I think the Nets are trying to create an outline for the rest of the league about the kind of package they would want back in a Kevin Durant trade. I think the Rudy Gobert trade to Minnesota started to frame that. Thanks a lot, Minnesota, for overpaying and like screwing up the market. I think the Rudy Gobert trade, I already read that part. The market is still taking shape, he said. I think it's incumbent on some of the other teams to be creative and start bringing to Brooklyn ideas, going out to see if they can deal players, picks that would put the kind of package together to get Kevin Durant. Brooklyn has time on its side. There's a lot of time left in the offseason. They don't have to rush into a deal. So those are the biggest targets we're looking at. Hello, by the way, to everybody in here. Oh, and I did see this, Mike, by the way. Dolphins fans, be careful what you ask for. Mike Greer, who's Chris Greer's brother, I believe. Are they twins? I don't know if they're twins, but they look exactly like they might be twins. Mike Greer is the San Jose Sharks GM, which is very historic because he's the first Black GM in NHL history. So congratulations to Mike Greer. So Chris Greer, Mike Greer, they're taking over the world, a couple of different sports. And correct me if I'm wrong, if somebody knows, are they twins? Because they look like twins. Like not only do they look like brothers, they look like if I saw either guy walking down a hallway, I'd be like, is it Mike? Is it Chris? I don't know. Let's see what Brooklyn Rob had to say. Hello to Brooklyn Rob. Mitchell is not going anywhere. He don't have enough for Durant. Get ready for Jay Crowder. I would not mind bringing Crowder back. I'm very happy to bring Jay Marc back into the fold. Ricky, do you see the globalists trying to shut me down again? They literally cut my power. So I'm now in a bad Wi-Fi area, very poorly lit today. So I give you guys a break. You don't have to see all of my beautiful face. I'm kind of lurking in the shadows today. I'm glad you're here, very well lit. How are you doing?
I am. I'm doing well. It's been a weird last few days health wise.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
No. I mean, God is good. We're cool. It's just
Good.
It's kind of funny because in this day and age, when you wake up with a cough and you feel weird, there's it automatically goes to certain things. We're taking some tests. Initial tests came back inconclusive, but we got some other stuff coming up. Yeah, wow. I don't know. So I guess same people that took your power out are fudging the stats. Hopefully it's just like a funky cold or whatever, which is weird because who catches a cold in July? But it is what it is, man. How are you, Donna? How are you doing? I
thank you. I caught it. Well, it's also the shadows. They make the beard look even fuller. I've been doing pretty good health wise. I did have a nasty cold in late May that was not COVID. I tested negative. It was something else. It was really nasty. So yeah, I guess if a cold in Florida in late May can happen, a cold in July in Florida can also happen. I guess the good news is Heat fans got to just sort of enjoy their holiday weekend without anything big happening, right? Because you had like the initial deals right away, bringing back Dwayne Dedmon on what's hopefully a tradable contract, bringing back our guy Victor Oladipo on a 1-year, $11 million deal. And we're whale watching, but we're not spotting anything at the moment. So how do you think that the next weeks are going to play out here?
I'm honestly surprised that Dwayne Dedmon got brought back.
Same here.
If it's the whole Heat loyalty thing, the guy, I don't have any issue with him personally, but he was unplayable the further this team got in the playoffs. I don't know what the deal with that is, but maybe it's because they want to see through their redevelopment project, or maybe he fits
Doesn't this remind you
culture.
of doesn't this remind you of the Myers Leonard deal from a couple years ago?
Who?
You know, that guy, the guy who likes to play video
Oh,
games
the big
and say
zero.
very, very nasty. Yes. Doesn't this remind, and of course, you know, they brought him back before that happened, but doesn't this kind of remind you of that anyway?
I could see the connection there, but I'm pretty sure they gave that other guy like a cool $10 million for that season or something like that. Versus Dedmon got what, 9 over 2 years? Or something like that. I don't know. It's weird.
It's 9 over 2 years. Yeah.
You know, I mean, I'm not going to sit here. I always try to, you know, this, and much to the chagrin of Heat Twitter, I try to look at things from a more nuanced, objective perspective. And I'm not always going to assume that every free agent decision this Heat team makes is a good one. We'll have to see. I don't know why they would bring someone like Dedmon back, but, you know, it is what it is. As far as enjoying the weekend, does Heat Twitter know how to enjoy anything? Because
No.
Riley's asleep because I guess TJ Warren got signed by the Nets. Like, okay. I mean, cool. That's not going to be the difference. This Heat team has much greater problems than signing TJ Warren in the offseason. So, I mean, but I guess we'll get into that today.
I don't know if you saw what the YouTube thumbnail that I made for this episode, where it's a picture of Pat Riley and the caption is "Hello, whales, please." And then I opened up the episode by saying it's already July 5th. Is somebody going to wake Pat Riley up? So I'm playing into it. I'm playing into the hysteria. I do think that there could be hopefully a parallel to be made, because Dolphin fans know what I'm talking about here. A few months back when NFL free agency opened up, it was very quiet for the first week and a half for Chris Greer. And then all of a sudden he woke up, moves were being made left and right. You trade for Tyreek Hill, even you get Teron Armstead. So hopefully there's a parallel to be made for Pat Riley having kind of a slow opening week and then hitting the ground running the way that Chris Greer did. Congratulations again to his brother, I'm told his younger brother, Mike Greer, who's now GM of the San Jose Sharks. That is awesome, and that is historic. And also, like Ricky, aren't we waiting for some dominoes? Like when it comes to the trade market, right? Aren't the Brooklyn Nets, like, they're really taking their time with Kevin Durant because they kind of want the market to shape out. And I think the Jazz are taking their time with Donovan Mitchell as well, because they're supposedly telling people, no, we're not interested in making a deal. But I think that's them setting their bargaining position.
Yeah, I mean, look, I understand that completely. The problem is, I think when you're dealing with two players such as Donovan Mitchell and Kevin Durant, you have the ability to define the market. Never mind what Rudy Gobert is. I mean, he's not on the same level as those guys. He can be traded for whatever, but I think trades should be looked at on a case-by-case basis. I really feel like the GM offices, when they're engaging in negotiations, I think obviously there is some outside pressure involved, but you know, I think you also have to take into account the trade context taking place between the teams and the players. Now, for example, let's say Brooklyn. I mean, I know Heat fans are begging for a KD deal and all that, but you know what we also need to understand is that it is impossible for the Nets to end up with both Bam Adebayo and
Ben Simmons.
Ben Simmons. There we go. I almost forgot he hasn't played in forever.
Yeah, it's easy
on
to
the
forget
same
Ben
team
Simmons.
because you cannot acquire a player on a rookie extension such as Bam Adebayo. I mean, that's the rules. There's nothing Andy Ellisberg can do to put those two players together. And quite frankly, if you're Brooklyn, I don't see how that makes any sense in terms of fit, especially considering you're probably going to end up giving up Kyrie Irving somewhere, if not to the Lakers. What we also need to do, Heat fans, and I'm sure this will go in one ear and out the other for a lot of Heat Twitter or whatever, manage your expectations.
Yeah.
Because the reality is, I mean, if you are Brooklyn, you know, put yourself in the shoes of Brooklyn or Utah. Would you really give up an all-timer in Kevin Durant? I know people have a lot to say about the rings he won in Golden State, but guess what? He put that dagger in Cleveland both times. You know what I mean?
And
like,
he was the fact that he was Finals MVP both times.
Yeah,
so it's not like, okay, yeah, that team was good enough to win one before he got there and after he left, but he was still the best player on that team.
Yes,
so that's
absolutely. Same way Michael Jordan was the best player on the '96 Bulls team, but you know, it's funny because technically Dennis Rodman had a pretty good case for Finals MVP that year, but that's another conversation. But if you're about to give up Kevin Durant, who's under contract for another 4 years, does Tyler Hero, Kyle Lowry, Omer Yurtseven, and Duncan Robinson, who had a career worst year, does that really move the needle for you? Like, let's say if you had Kevin Durant, would you trade for that? Because quite frankly, honestly, I think the best package for him, the way things look right now, is kind of ironic. I think the best package for him is whatever the Warriors can offer him, offer the Nets. You're talking like Wiggins, the young guys, and there's a chance they could potentially even keep Wiseman while acquiring Durant, meaning you give up nothing, the last 2 years of lottery teams and all that stuff, and you have your core intact plus a potential generational big. Like, I think the Warriors are low-key a serious contender for his services if the
I agree. How
Nets
crazy
are
would that
interested
be?
in that sort of thing. Yeah, I mean, look, with Durant, I don't know if he wants to go back there, and quite frankly, I'm a little skeptical on him coming to Miami too, because if things got hot for him in Golden State with Draymond Green's personality, are we going to pretend like Jimmy Butler is not cut from a similar cloth, like where this Heat team is all about accountability and doing your thing and all that other stuff? Like, I'm not sure.
Supposedly he does want to play
but
with Jimmy, though. I mean, if I'm to believe that, but like if I'm to believe that report that came out late last week, like it sounds like he'd like to play with the current Heat supporting cast. He just doesn't want anyone to be traded. So it's like, how do we get you if you want to play with Jimmy and with Bam and with Kyle Lowry? Like you limit our options a little bit there.
Yeah, it's funny because I think what we also need to take a look at is the idea of the player demand and how realistic player demands can be and whether or not teams are willing to do that to their detriment. I mean, the Brooklyn Nets already blew up a young, promising roster just to bring Kevin Durant and his friends to that city, to that team. And after about 3 or so years, they've got nothing to show for it. And that's concerning because it's like the Nets did everything. Presumably, they even caved in when KD went into health and safety protocols and they needed more scoring. They did everything, and then Kyrie opts in after being the worst kind of headache. And then now he wants out. So it's just like not everything a player wants they get. Just Ben Simmons, for example. He wanted to go to L.A. dating back to the draft, and he didn't go. The Sixers drafted him. He played, and that was that. With the way this is set up right now, I think KD has a wish list, but I hope that this Brooklyn Nets team does what is best for them if trading Kevin Durant is inevitable, even if it doesn't necessarily mean that he ends up in Miami, because no one player should be greater. Yeah. That's true. Yeah. No one player should be greater than the team, no matter who that player is. That's something I firmly believe in. I think it's fair to make certain accommodations within reason because every person and every player is different. But I don't see a scenario where he gets to play with Kyle Lowry, Jimmy Butler, and Bam Adebayo without, unless they want to, play in the Drew League or the Miami Rec League that plays in the summer. I just don't see it happening. I mean, why would the Nets do that deal? And because ultimately, if KD doesn't get his way and the nuclear option is pressed and he says, oh, I don't want to, you know what? I'm not going to report to camp. Well, what's eventually going to happen is he's going to start losing money. Yeah. And if he chooses not to come to work, what's he going to do? Claim mental health like Ben Simmons did? I mean, he used up that fruit significantly last season. And I don't think the Nets are going to entertain that, because ultimately, if they end up, voiding his contract, that's cap space for them. And
that's true.
People might say that, oh, no one's ever going to sign there again. That is nonsense. It's nonsense, because every players out there want a chance. They want to eat. They want to make money in this league. They're going to sign with the Nets. And the Nets, in a hypothetical that I just outlined, that's not something that the Nets would have done in bad faith. It's a matter of, we didn't see a trade that we liked, so we're going to keep you. And if you don't want to play, fine, but we're not going to pay you.
We continue on here with Ricky J. Marc, who joins us on Donno Daily. I want to remind you guys to get on it with the new betting sponsor of Donno Daily. They've been with the 5 Reasons Sports Network for a couple of months. We're happy to welcome in Better Edge to the Donno Daily family. That's BETTOR edge.com. Guys, this is so unique, and a lot of the concerns you've had about other sportsbook we've talked about are not concerns at Better Edge. It's not offshore. It's not run by a big-time casino where they're taking fees and juice from you. There are no fees at betteredge.com, and it's completely legal in 45 states, including the state of Florida, because it's peer-to-peer. It basically combines like social media with sports betting. So you pick the line that you want. Like if you want the Marlins plus 1.5 runs and that's not the official line, you'll find somebody else at the end of that and you bet with that person. And the site Better Edge, they don't make their money from juice, like we call it in the betting community, or fees. Like they're not making money based on like the minus 120s and stuff. There's nothing like that at Better Edge. They make money through advertisements on their site. So they're not taking extra juice from you. It's really unique. It's really fun. And since it's not an offshore and it's completely legal, you don't have to worry about, foreign transaction fees when you sign up or, any difficulties you have getting your money out. There's no problems like that at betteredge.com. And we have a special referral link for you. So make sure you sign up with our referral link, because not only does that give us credit for your sign up, but it also gets you a $20 referral bonus instantly when you use our link. It's betteredge.com. Again, BETTOR edge.com/5 reasons. And that's with the number 5. Betteredge.com/5 reasons. Right there, when you log on to that URL, you're going to see claim your $20 referral bonus. Make sure you claim it. Make sure you sign up. And yeah, you can check out what you get there, action on anything you can imagine. And it's no fees, guys, and no difficulty putting money in, taking money out. So sign up at betteredge.com/5 reasons. And let's have fun for the rest of the summer, guys. We're joined here by Ricky J. Marc. And by the way, everyone, make sure you smash the like button and subscribe to our channel. What about Donovan Mitchell, Ricky? Because I know Heat fans have their sights set on him, if not KD. The fact that Danny Ainge is out there running the Utah Jazz is not gonna, it's not gonna make it any easier for Miami to get a deal done. He'd rather do business with Vladimir Putin than do business with Pat Riley, unfortunately for us. Although maybe Dwayne Wade can soften that up, him being a part owner of the Utah Jazz. And, the Jazz did say a couple of days ago, or Adrian Wojnarowski said, supposedly they're shutting down any phone calls they get for him, which could be a bargaining ploy. So what do you think is going to happen with Donovan Mitchell? Even if he doesn't end up in Miami, do you think he will get traded?
I could see it happening this summer, if not during the season. As far as Dwayne Wade and Danny Ainge, if I'm not mistaken, Dwayne Wade's ownership is not on the basketball side, which allows him to go on TNT and talk about other players. Yeah. So I'm not really sure how Dwayne Wade, being a minority, there's a pun there, a minority owner of the Utah Jazz, somehow greases the skids for a Mitchell to Miami type of trade. I don't see what assets there are that Miami could give Utah that Utah would want, because they already have Mike Conley Jr. at point guard. So Kyle Lowry, Tyler Hero, and Duncan Robinson, I'm not sure how that will work. Those are pretty much your only tradable assets at this point, absent a third or a fourth team. And would Danny Ainge make a deal like that? I don't know. I feel like you could probably get a lot more for Donovan Mitchell than 3 guys who, notably underperformed last year at many different points. I don't know if we can get both players at the same time. I think it's got to be one or the other, because you're talking about most likely holding on to both Bam and Jimmy, meaning you've got room for maybe one more max slot. So I don't see how that would work. Like, I'm picturing it in my mind right now, a starting lineup just post trade of Gabriel Vincent, assuming he's not moved, Donovan Mitchell, Jimmy Butler, Kevin Durant, and Bam Adebayo. I feel like the cap gods would be screaming their heads off at something like that. I don't see how that would work, honestly. Like, it just seems like too much. That sounds like a 2K trade, and I don't know, man.
Well, and like people's hopes were up because there was one like Heat Twitter account. I don't think it's anybody that like is affiliated with us or we're affiliated with them. But there was like a Heat account that tweeted out something last week, in that like the Heat are like in constant contact trying to get both Donovan Mitchell and Kevin Durant to Miami. It was a pretty big account, like not like a reliable news account, but a pretty big Heat fan account. So that got a lot of people talking.
So I'm glad that you I mean, I think I remember the tweet you're talking about.
Yeah.
And the problem I have with a lot of these aggregate wannabe rumor accounts that don't really have credibility and exist only for clout is that I could easily tweet out a statement like that doesn't need to be proven and pretty much sticks with common sense. Like, of course, the Miami Heat are reaching out to the Utah Jazz for a star guard. Of course, the Miami Heat are reaching out to the Brooklyn Nets for one of the greatest players of all time. Of course they are. Like, that's not some secret, some sources of such. Of course, we have Pat Riley here. Of course they're reaching out to those players. Like, these accounts that somehow, act like they're breaking news by saying, you know something? It might rain at 2:15 today here in Florida in the summer. Stay tuned for more. Stay tuned for more information as far as what my sources have to say about that. Like, we know it rains every day at 2:15 in the summertime. Like, that's not news. That's like, it's the summer. It's trade season. Of course, they're in constant contact. They're constantly reaching out, but it's not like Riley's by the phone waiting for Brooklyn to call back. No, that's not how these teams go about their business. And as far as both Kevin Durant and Donovan Mitchell, I can't see them both on this team without either Bam or Jimmy being gone. In addition to
like
some of the
you
other
wouldn't
players.
even have to, and you'd also have to trade draft picks for both. And like, what are we gonna trade? Like, and you can't stack up like 2 first rounders in a row. So it's like, oh yeah, we'll trade every other first round pick for the next 20 years, basically, to get these guys here.
Yeah, and I'm not sure. Like, I'm honestly, because I know obviously we had the pick this year. I don't know if we even have it next year. I wish I could tell you.
Sure. I wish I could tell. I'm sure somebody in the live chat knows. I guarantee you somebody knows.
Probably. But, with this pick, I know the Seppian rule. This was Ted Seppian, who was, I believe, either the owner or the GM of the Cavaliers back in the 80s, who kept trading first-round picks in succession. So they basically said, no, you can't do that anymore because you're basically tanking your franchise's growth and all that other stuff. But look, I don't see how that could work. If there's a way Andy Ellisberg could swing that where they basically have that starting lineup that we just mentioned a little earlier, man, I don't know. Like, just to quote Brooklyn Rob, not only would a 2K GM reject that trade, but you would likely cause the game to get an M rating because the GM in that game would probably cuss you out for making a suggestion like that. There's no way. Like, it just, like, on this network, we've been talking about Duncan Robinson, for example, and how Tyler Hero has underperformed mightily in the playoffs, even before the quad injury, and how Kyle Lowry has clearly lost a step. We've been talking about this all season. You don't think the Jazz are aware of these guys? I mean, you're talking about a Lowry who's like, 36 already? 36. Hero's young. Duncan's young, but he got the check and he tanked. Like, that's – and you really expect to get a star back for that kind of – No, because remember, Heat fans, remember this very well. And I apologize if I sound like I'm rambling a little bit, but remember what you traded for Shaq. Lamar Odom, Caron Butler, the 2005 first round pick, which
Brian
turned out to be the number,
was in there,
and Brian Grant, a steady starting center.
Yeah,
like, those were 3 really good young those were 2 really good young players and a solid big man in Brian Grant, who was actually brought to Miami to play power forward next to Zoe, but Zoe went down with a kidney issue that same year, right? Yeah. That's what you got back in addition to draft picks for Shaq. Miami doesn't have assets anywhere close to that right now for even someone less than Shaq, like a Donovan Mitchell or much less Kevin Durant. Manage your expectations, Heat fans. If the deal somehow gets done, we praise Riley till kingdom come. But if KD doesn't end up in Miami, it's not because Riley fell asleep. Just look at your roster and be realistic. Right. Like, take off the homer cap for a second and recognize that the guys that you think the Nets should take back for him aren't really that good compared to KD and what he brings to a franchise. But I digress.
Last thing before we let you run, I was really pleased to see that that the Knicks might actually get penalized for the most obvious tampering of all time. And I know like tampering penalties or like slaps on the wrist, but I was so annoyed when it happened to the Heat last year with the Kyle Lowry thing. I'm like, and it did also happen to the Bulls, I believe, with DeMar DeRozan, but it's like they only go after Miami. With Jalen Brunson, the most obvious tampering of all time. Like they hired his father to be an assistant coach. There's a bunch of agent connections as well. Hold on, I've got them written down here. They hired
Rose.
Rick. Yeah, that's right. Leon Rose, longtime family friend of the Brunsons. They got Worldwide West involved there as well. And the other thing was been there for years. But the other thing was with the Jalen Brunson thing, like the news reports were talking for like a week before free agency start. Oh, Jalen Brunson going to sign with the Knicks, $110 million. So it was like, wait, how do they know that if they're not tampering? Because that's before the legal tampering opens. So I am happy justice may be served.
Okay, I'd be more than happy to explain this. First of all, the idea of it's very clear that the NBA in many ways is a microcosm of America because the rules apply to certain people. And for example, flopping. When was the last time you saw someone get fined for flopping? We see it every night.
Right.
Kyle Lowry's career. Like, you know what I mean? So not only that, but tampering, for example. Okay. When a journalist reports something like that, it could reflect a plan that the team has in terms of planning to clear out a certain amount of cap space ahead of an offer. Okay. That doesn't necessarily mean they're reaching out to the player directly. Now, it's true that Rick Brunson and there are certain familial connections. I would be naive to suggest that, oh, well, what are they doing? But remember, for example, this has been par for the course in the NBA for many years. You remember a couple years back when the Wizards signed Scott Brooks to be their coach and then hired KD's coach right around the time KD was getting ready to become a free agent?
That's right.
Pretty much the same thing, but they didn't get busted for tampering, mainly because he didn't go over there. But still, like these things happen. I mean, there are community references there. Rick Brunson used to play for the Knicks, so it makes sense that there's institutional knowledge involved in that, where he would be a part of that situation. For example, how many players' sons have played for the Miami Heat Summer League team? Alonzo Mourning's son, I think Trey. Juwan Howard Jr. I mean, you just pick them. Now, some of those free agents were signed before July 1st, but I think what it ultimately comes down to is that Marc Cuban lost an asset and he's sore about it. And I know, the Knicks are going to get penalized, whatever, but it's two guys in the league that are always sore about this sort of thing. It's Marc Cuban and Dan Gilbert. And Marc Cuban lost an asset. And he's mad about it. And presumably he's probably one of the people involved in the whole tampering investigation. But the truth is, while tampering, for the most part, you can enforce it. Like, are you really going to try to enforce a conversation between a father and a son, especially when the father actually used to play for the Knicks and has a legitimate NBA career? Like, he didn't get this job either with the Knicks or whatever because, oh my God, we absolutely have to have Jalen Brunson. No, because he's got, like I said before, history with the franchise. Like it's just, and maybe they talked, maybe not. I don't know. But again, these sorts of things happen all the time. If we really wanted to enforce a lot of the rules that are being broken in this NBA, a lot more teams would be in trouble. So there are a lot of these people out here that claim righteousness in this league. Careful. But as far as this is concerned, I wouldn't read too much into it.
I always enjoy chatting with you. And everyone, make sure you follow Ricky on Twitter. It's at Ricky J. Marc. And make sure you check out rickyjmarc.com. Doing a lot of great things there, Ricky. Tell folks where they can find you, what they can find, and also if you're doing anything else on 5 Reasons this week.
This week, no. Honestly, I'm probably going to go take a nap after this.
For you.
Or play Pokemon, one or the other. I'm just going to relax. I know later today, Alana, Brian Fonseca, Timmy, and I think Tony Schwartz are going to be on at 7 p.m. today. They're going to be talking some free agency and some stuff around the league. It's always great content. Alana's the content machine. Brian Fonseca is my guy up in New York, and you always got to have a little bit of island flavor. it works. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like it works. As far as me, no. You can find me on Twitter. I love having unfortunately, social media is where nuance and intelligent discussions go to die, but I do welcome the opportunity to have legit conversations with people that aren't like just being bad faith and ignorant. But, you know, it's Twitter. RickyJMark.com,
Good
of
luck.
course. Yeah, I know, right? That's why, honestly, I don't even bother. But, you know, RickyJMark.com, you can find me on there. All my contact information is on there. Yeah, that's pretty much it. We're just chilling. We're doing all right. We're trying to survive on 95, as that one police officer, Rick Ross, once rhymed in a poem or something.
I love it, man. I appreciate you, Ricky J. Mark. Enjoy the rest of your day.
You too, Donno. Be well, and don't let the globalists take you down, brother.
Don't
let them do it.
I won't. No matter where they find me, Ricky's awesome. Even if they find me, they can cut my power in one place. I will find a way to do a show from another place. Guys, I want to remind you, we also have a fantasy sports partner on this show and all over the 5 Reasons Sports Network, and that is Prize Picks. Bros, I know you guys have tried Prize Picks because we've had a ton of signups happen through 5 Reasons Sports. If you haven't signed up yet, it's never too late. We got Major League Baseball going on, MLS soccer going on, international friendlies, I'm sure, and friendly matches are going to be happening in soccer. There's plenty going on. UFC fights, boxing. Guys, Prize Picks is so fun, and it's so easy to sign up and make your selections. You can sign up prizepicks.com or the Prize Picks mobile app. All you have to do is you simply select 2, 3, or 4 players, and you can go cross league and cross sport. You select 2, 3, 4 players and predict if they're going to go over or under their fantasy projections, and you win real money. You can win 10 times your money for getting 4 predictions correct, double your money on getting 2 predictions correct. It takes less than 60 seconds to make your selection. Sometimes do it in 30. Okay. It's that quick and that easy. It's also easy to sign up, whether you're on the mobile app, which is great, Prize Picks mobile app, or prizepicks.com. Sign up today and use our code 5. That's FIVE. Spell it out. Use our code 5, and they're going to match your first deposit 100% up to $100. So find out why everyone's talking about Prize. It is daily fantasy simplified. Just with the place that I had to set my computer up, I'm going to have a really difficult time doing the normal shout outs. So do not feel disrespected by this, guys, because I see a lot of you in here having fun, chatting with us. Thank you so much for watching today's episode. We'll bring back the regular shout outs tomorrow. God willing, my power is back and I can do the show from the regular home studio tomorrow. They claimed no later than 11 o'clock tonight. It's going to be back. You know, I don't know if the globalists are going to have anything to say about that. So huge thank you and shout out. Thank you guys so much for watching another episode of Donno Daily on the 5 Reasons Sports Network.